In the blink of an eye, your whole world as you know it could be altered forever. On February 3rd, 1959, a plane crashed, killing 3 musicians who had left behind their friends, family, adoring fans, and a long-lasting legacy. This is known as the day the music died. In order for you to better understand this moment in time, I'll be taking you through the people involved, the event itself, and the lasting impact it had on the music industry and pop culture at the time. So one of the 3 musicians involved in this horrific accident was Buddy Holly. He was born on September 7th, 1936 in the small town of Lubbock. He started his career in a high school country duo called Buddy and Bob. The two would go around to local areas such as grocery stores and schools and perform. As he became more famous, he started to work on his image more. According to McFerrin of The Guardian in his article titled Buddy Holly, the Rocker Next Door, he says that his public image of the shy, bespectacled, grinning, clean-cut kid seemed to have extended uniformly into his private life, meaning that Buddy Holly had this amazing reputation through and through, and most people really liked him for that. He pushed the music industry with his unique style, and he was one of the greats who popularized and revolutionized rock and roll to what it is today. The next person affected by this horrific accident was Ritchie Valens. He was born near Los Angeles on May 13th, 1941. According to the New World Encyclopedia, he became one of the first major performers of rock music and the first Hispanic rock and roll star. His most famous song, the Spanish language La Bamba, which came out in 1958, is considered a rock classic. Due to the death at his very young age, we really didn't get to see his career blossom into what it could have truly been, but what we do know of his works has left a long and lasting impact on the rock and roll community. B.J. Richardson, or Little Bopper, was the last person to be affected by this crash. He was born on October 24th to 1920 in Texas. He started his career very young and was even a radio disc jockey at one point. Alan Lee with the Texas State Historical Society said that the Bopper wrote about 38 songs during his lifetime and recorded 21 of them. Most of the recordings were classified as novelty songs that didn't have a long-lasting popularity. One of his songs that he meant to go very big was actually outshined by Chantilly Lace, which is the biggest song he is known for, and it went triple platinum. He is very well known for being one of the people to also have popularized rock and roll. Rock and roll was forever changed the day that the music died, during that plane crash. The 3 musicians, along with many others, were on their winter dance party tour. This is the poster for the tour. And as they were going along bus to each of their stops, the bus was in very bad condition. It was very cold, and it left a lot of the performers with hypothermia and one with even frostbite. So Buddy Holly decided to charter a plane. However, the weather was really bad, and the weather advisories were not in place at the time for the pilot to see. A winter weather advisory is issued by the National Weather Service of the United States when a low-pressure system produces a combination of winter weathers, snow, freezing rain, sleet, and presents a hazard that does not meet warning criteria. They, however, didn't have this criteria at the time, so they went along as though there was just going to be bad weather and not that the weather was going to be damaging or harmful or risking their own lives. However, the plane was later found 6 miles away due to the awful weather from the Iowa airport. So the immediate aftermath of this event shook everyone to their core, considering how they died. The probability of you dying on an airplane is 1 in 5.4 million, so it left a lot of people completely shocked. One of the people who was left completely shocked was Buddy Holly's wife, who actually found out about the death of her husband over the news, which caused her to actually miscarry over the loss of her husband. In an interview she had with the Daily Telegraph, she says that Buddy's death in the airplane crash was all over the TV. I was so traumatized that I lost our baby the next day. It was because of that day that the media adopted a new policy of not naming victims before the kin had been informed. So because of this horrific event, actual legislation was put in place so that they would be notified before the media released their name, so that they wouldn't find out over the news. Along with that policy change, Maria Elena Hawley also founded the Buddy Holly Educational Foundation. This foundation is a charitable corporation whose mission is to keep Buddy Holly's legacy alive and provide musical education for children who might not be able to afford it without any limitations. The music industry was highly impacted from the death. The impact of their death on the music culture at the time is similar to the impact we've had with Juice WRLD or Lil Peep dying in the rap community. According to B. Cannon in his article titled Not Fade Away, he says that events did seem to be conspiring to kill off the careers of rock and roll's elite. Elvis was in the army, Little Richard had turned to preaching, Jerry Lee Lewis was in disgrace after marrying his 13-year-old cousin, and Chuck Berry would soon be in jail. But Buddy Holly's death was the cruelest blow of them all. This is kind of the final straw for the rock and roll community, as it lost like one of its greats for no reason. They did nothing wrong. It was just a freak, horrible, tragic accident. A quote by Buddy Holly, death is very often referred to as a good career move. I find this quite ironic because although he was popular before the tragic incident, he definitely gained much more notoriety afterwards, and people knew about him a lot more than they did beforehand. Don McLean actually created a song called American Pie, which actually coined the term The Day the Music Died, in which he remembered the day that all of them tragically lost their lives. And here is a published outline of the day, a few days after he released his song, remembering them. So the characters of each of these musicians lived through their music and still inspire people to this day. Each of them had their own part in revolutionizing what we know today as rock and roll, and although they are no longer with us, they continue to influence music to this day. Thank you.